Good evening, and welcome to Day One's Voices Against Violence benefit to end dating violence among youth. 1 in 3 young people experiences abuse in a dating relationship. That's why we're here tonight. This is not a niche issue. This is something that places hundreds of thousands of young people just in New York City at risk. That video has been seen around the world 13 million times in the past 2 months. That's 13 million opportunities for people to think through how relationships that start out exciting and sweet can go wrong when one person chooses to harm another. We have to thank BBDO, the agency that created this for us, all pro bono. The video is now opening up conversations in classrooms, but also offering people we'll never meet that day one of new information that can help them spot warning signs or stop exercising control over a partner. So much has happened since I last stood up here before you all. The news cycle swirling around day one has been constant. When I absorb the news about horrible behavior by celebrities, politicians, and executives, I just see one story, one theme. I see power and control being used to harm another person. I see suffering and damage, whether it's happening in a hotel room or an apartment or in a high school or online. And I see how the impact on the person who's targeted feels just as destructive, whether it affects their career or their livelihood or their social standing in 10th grade. We have a long way to go toward a clear understanding that using power to harm another person is unacceptable, toward defining what a healthy and safe relationship looks like. That sounds like an enormous task, and it is, but Day One is moving us in that direction. Day One is bringing the right services to youth, 24 years of age and under, who are being physically and sexually abused by a partner, terrorized online, threatened, criticized, and harassed by their partners. And these are not cookie-cutter solutions. We know that a generic protective order does not resolve things in a small high school. We're not responding to online stalking by saying, oh, let's just get you off that pesky Snapchat. Young people can't just relocate to achieve safety, and they're not going to leave social media. We have lawyers and social workers who are moving survivors of dating violence from crisis to safety in a way that still respects their reality. Many of these young survivors join our Youth Voices Network to speak out about their experiences to adults and to other young people. Their own healing becomes intertwined with their public advocacy. And you're going to hear from some of our Youth Voices Network members tonight. So how is Day One getting ahead of this problem? There are 23 of us now, and Day One staff is delivering trainings in middle schools, high schools, and colleges. We have social workers that are working full-time in 8 New York City high schools, delivering counseling and presenting workshops. This year, students from those schools will join our Summer Leadership Institute to learn about prevention and to use their voices for change. And you're going to hear from one of our peer leaders as well. Since I was last here, we started delivering workshops in kindergarten through 5th grade classes as well. This is why when I look at the news, I see one story and I see one solution. By starting these conversations with children, adolescents, teenagers, we can build these skills: how to be a good friend, how to apologize, respecting boundaries, identifying consent, building empathy for survivors of every age, race, and gender. But we have to start now. We all have a role to play in this, and your being here to listen and to give back is the first step in that process. I can't leave the stage without a few thank yous. So to the most dedicated, passionate, kind, and fun staff I have had the privilege to work with, I want to thank all of them. A huge shout out to Lindsay and Namasha, who organized most of this incredible endeavor this evening tonight. To our amazing board of directors, to our young professionals board, our host committee members, and our awesome volunteers, and to all of you for being here. I want to close by thanking our diamond sponsor, DLA Piper, workplace of our amazing board chair, Kara Edwards, as well as our platinum sponsors, BNY Mellon, last year's honoree, Pfizer, which has supported us for so many years, and Verizon, which has joined DLA Piper in sponsoring a law fellow at day one right now. Hey, Lorena. I want to acknowledge our gold sponsors whose support makes such a difference in the lives of young people, and our silver sponsors. We are deeply grateful to all of you for all of your generosity. Speaking of generosity, I am assigned to announce that the auction is staying open till 8:30. You don't have to freak out. Just go to your phones. You can keep bidding. So now I hope you'll join me in welcoming, I want to introduce Monika Singh. She's a survivor of an acid attack in her teen years. Monika followed her dreams from India to work in New York's fashion industry, where she speaks out against gender-based violence and uses fashion to empower and encourage survivors to pursue their dreams. Please welcome Monika.
Good evening, everyone. I hope I'm audible because I was told to speak louder. First of all, I would like to thank Day One for giving me opportunity to join all of you here. And for me, we all are here in this room are change makers through different sectors, through different fields, but our mission, our intentions are same. I'm Monika Singh. I'm a founder of Mahin Singh Foundation. I'm UN Women Global Youth Ambassador, and I'm also education-wise a fashion designer, and I do a lot of social media campaigns. But I'm also known for being an acid attack survivor, which I hate, but it's true. When I was 19 years old, and I was in my undergrad college, in a summer vacation, I was driving a car, I was attacked, a bucket full of sulfuric acid. 70% of my face got burned, 90% body is all scarred. And I've been patient for more than 9.5 years. You can say that I have done PhD being a patient. But all this time, when I was going through, the reason why what I was finding out being a patient, living in a cage, and having a body which has no skin left, was wondering why this has happened to me. I was 18 when this happened, and I turned 19 in a hospital. But I was always having this question, why this happened to me? What did I do to deserve all this? But there always a sign which was keep coming to me. The guys who've been stalking me for 6 years, his obsession was growing strong and strong, and I had no idea what's happening. I didn't want to get into the love and affairs and everything. I was very determined person as a young girl, and I always wanted to be a designer like Alexander McQueen. And that obsession became so dangerous that he hired people who are professionally criminals, who take money to kill someone, who takes money to destroy someone's life. And one day, when I was about to leave town to do some work with my mom, in a car, I was attacked by 2 people on a bike. And within a second, my life changed upside down. The face you are seeing right now is after 36 reconstructive surgeries result. I'm one of the India's top medical reconstructive surgery, plastic surgery cases. My case has been discussed internationally, but then that's what not I wanted to be. I didn't want it to be a case. I didn't want it to be a poster child. And I wanted to keep continuing studying because one time my dad asked me, when I was lying on a hospital bed, what do you want to do? I can feed you forever if you don't want to step out. And I said, what are you talking about? I got an admission in India's top college, and I want to finish what I started. And my dad says, that's my daughter, and that's what I wanted to hear. After working in a fashion industry where I've been rejected because of my face, because it's deformed, and I'm very well aware of that. And working in a fashion industry, a lot of people told me that this industry is all about the appearances and everything. I was like, I want to change that, and I'm taking your words as a challenge. That it's not about face, it's about talent. And I want to redefine fashion around me. For me, fashion education become one of the resources which can help me to build myself. I know what to wear, I know what to do, and I started to growing more information and knowledge and experience in my life that one day, if I want to work in a biggest fashion house, they see my resume, they see my experience, nobody can see my face. I was very fragile stage, and doctor told me that you cannot go any further with your body, and your body cannot take any more surgeries. And I always went there and I said, like, you know what, I understand there's going to be a pain, but I'm more curious about the result after that. I was so desperate to be normal again. I was so desperate to walk on the street and people don't look at me by turning their heads around, like who's going? I didn't want to define myself that I am in a glass box and people can looking at me, and they are keep looking. And after some personal issues happened in my family, and the person who saved my life, who sold so much stuff to raise money to give me plastic surgery, he left me in 2013 after multiple organ failure issue. And I couldn't save him. Nobody could save him. He was dying in front of me, and the moment I felt so depressed and so helpless that he saved me and I couldn't save him. And I decided, after crying almost a year, and I was like, I need to get out. I need to change my life. I need to redefine. I need to write my own definition. Then I got an admission at the Parsons School of Design, and I did my marketing there. And that's the moment I decided, when I was keep thinking, that question keep coming to me, that this happened to me. I don't know how many younger girls getting into trapped by seeing somebody's obsession as love. We are at the benefit today for end violence of dating, which is happening every day. It happens next to your neighborhood, to the girl you might know. But this issue is the younger generation don't realize that those obsession, those stalking could lead to such a dangerous result. I know this happened to me, and I wish that none of these girls or anyone would ever go through that. I lived my hell practically. That's why I became kind of very fearless now, because I don't get scared anymore. But I don't want any younger generation to fall in this trap. There is no greater love than the parents can give you. And to loving yourself is the most precious thing. And now I love myself, because this is my second birth, what my parents gave me. And I'm in love with life. I respect life so much. So younger generation need to realize what is coming. We are at the time, we are at the stage, we are growing very strong technology-wise. Everywhere, everyone, we check our social media all the time. And then now we are so tired with that we sometimes keep our phones away. But the younger generation is still obsessed. They don't realize that everybody is ready and willing to lose their own definition. And I believe we need to stop them now, because they don't know what is happening right now. So as an adult now I am, and all of you in this room, I believe this is our responsibility to tell younger generation that they need to understand what is right and wrong. They have to understand the balance between love and obsession. The organization like Day One, they are doing incredible work, which is the problem is starting from the youth, and they are touching the beginning of the problem. We all heard the campaigns like Time's Up and the Me Too campaign. It's been happening since very long time, but now people are speaking. So technology is helping them to speak up. but also some of the younger generation using the technology for the wrong reasons as well. And I want to congratulate Day One for having this incredible subject to working on. And thank you for a magazine like Teen Vogue, that you are redefining the fashion line, you are redefining the definition what younger generation wants to have. And they are learning more and more than ever before. So we are in the stage of power, and we need to keep our society more healed by joining us together. All I can say is that as a younger generation, if anyone is here who are in a teenage, if you feel something, that something is going on which is not usual, which is totally unusual, please tell someone. If you're afraid to tell your parents, tell your friend. But don't keep suffering that. Because keep continuing suffering of any violence, I believe at this moment is the biggest crime, and we should stop that. There should no more Monika Singh should be there. There should not be any more violence. We need to do that. We need to realize the strength being a girl. We need to realize the strength being a power. No more survivors. I want every girl to take their power back. Thank you so much.
Introducing Kara Edwards, Day One Board Chair.
Good evening. Already I'm winning. I didn't fall down on the way. Thank you all so much for coming here tonight. It means so much to me and to the staff and board of Day One to have your support. As board chair and one of Day One's biggest fans, one of my jobs is to make sure that you understand what Day One does, how important the work is, and how much your support can mean to the teens and young adults we serve. After hearing from Stephanie and from Monika, we know that Day One is the only nonprofit organization in New York City solely devoted to the issue of teen dating violence. Day One serves a vital purpose in our community. Some of the statistics around intimate partner violence in youth are staggering. For example, women ages 16 to 24 experience the highest per capita rate of intimate partner violence. That's triple the national average. And 50% of people, young people ages 14 to 24, have experienced abusive behavior online. One of Day One's most important services is legal assistance to our survivors under the age of 24. We currently have 4 attorneys on staff at Day One providing services to youth, such as obtaining orders of protection, regularizing their immigration status, and removing private pictures from porn websites after an abusive ex posts them without permission. In the fall of 2017, we successfully reunited a client, a young parent named Tracy, with her infant son. Her abuser had fled the state with the child to another place, and through Day One's advocacy, we secured final orders of custody and a protective order for her and her child. And there are hundreds of stories like this. Thank you. And with your help, there can be many more success stories for young people finding safety. So tonight, throughout the evening, I'm going to ask you to consider making a donation to Day One. The number of young people served is limited only by Day One's budget and resources, and there are many ways you can help. You can bid on something out there in the auction, or you can give right now. Guests who provided their cell phone number, you can donate through a link that you should have received. And you can just click on that link and give a gift, or if you're not as tech savvy, like me, you can just raise your hand and a volunteer will come around and help you give. Last year, Day One staff attorneys assisted more than 250 clients like Tracy. And the reason we provided only 250 clients with an attorney is because that's what our budget allowed. Legal services at Day One cost well over $100 per hour. I know for the lawyers in the room, you're like, hey, that's cheap. But it's not. The more hours that Day One can pay for, the more young people we can help. Because unfortunately, more young people need our help. It's that simple. So I'm going to start off the donating this evening, and I'm going to right now, with my helpful assistant, Rachel, commit to giving $2,000 to Day One, so that a teenager can receive the legal assistance they need. And I hope that you'll join me. So the way the app works is you'll donate and then your name will go up on the board and we'll have this running total throughout the evening, and hopefully we'll all be pleased to see that number go up. Day One also provides counseling services to survivors of domestic violence. Last year, our social workers provided over 1,600 clients with supportive services. They answered 384 calls from clients who needed immediate crisis assistance. One survivor's counseling session costs $250. So if $2,000 seems like too much, think about donating $250. We're talking about life-saving interventions for young people who are being stalked online or who are afraid to return to school because of threats from an abusive partner. So I thank you to everyone who's donating now, and I hate to be the thing in between you and your main course. So don't forget, the silent auction is still open and will be open for some time, and I thank you for your generosity. You'll see me a little bit later. Hello again, everyone. Congratulations to all of those who won in the silent auction. We raised $24,925, and Brian, you're going to have to put 75 in so we can just get to an even 25,000, please. All right. So for those of you who maybe really wanted something at the silent auction but weren't able to get it, you still have the opportunity to bid on your phones and donate those funds to a great cause. On behalf of Day One's clients and Day One staff and Day One's board and Young Professionals Board, we are all so appreciative. But I have just a little bit more to share. Consider this: 1 in 10 teenagers in New York City schools reports experiencing physical or sexual violence in a dating relationship within the past year. Day One provides preventative education, which was really the part of the organization that brought me to it. Because when you think of a problem like this one, you think of how can you solve it? Sure, can you solve it through legal representation? Absolutely, you can help survivors. But how do you make sure, harkening back to something that Monika had said, how do you make sure it stops? And that's to start at the root. And that starts by educating youth and educators about how to look at healthy relationships and build relationships that we would like to see in our world. So as I said, Day One provides preventative education, semester-long workshops that cover the warning signs of abuse, consent and coercion, technology abuse, but also what a healthy, respectful relationship looks like. We offer those workshops in middle schools, in high schools, and in college settings as well. Now, last year, more than 10,000 youth attended 535 of these workshops. And again, we're only limited in the number of students we can reach by our budget. So I want to let you know that $1,000 pays for an entire semester in a high school or college. So I think my buddy Kyle, yeah, I'm looking at you, Kyle. Yep. I think he would like to sponsor one of those semesters, and maybe you already did because you got so excited with the app. Okay. So I thank you to all those who are donating now. I just want to take a moment and say I've got 3 children who keep me very busy. I have a boy and 2 girls. They are 4 and 6 and 8. And part of the reason I'm involved with Day One is because I want to make sure that when they're old enough to start dating, which in my mind is like 35, that the people that they date, that they choose to date, have a deep understanding of what a safe and healthy relationship is. I hope that they've taken part in a Day One workshop as part of their school, because Day One's trainings teach teens and other youth to identify abuse, but most importantly to me, not to harm others. So I hope I can count on other parents in the room or friends of parents in the room to help support these important workshops. Thank you. Now, Stephanie.
I am now very excited to introduce an incredibly powerful group of speakers. We have 3 amazing young people coming up, one of Day One's peer leaders and 2 of our Youth Voices Network members. But first, I'm honored to introduce April Hernandez Castillo. Born and raised in the Bronx, April is an actor. You may have seen her in Dexter or in a very big movie with Hilary Swank, and survivor of intimate partner violence who speaks publicly about her history in order to empower others. She's written a book called Your Voice, Your Choice about those experiences. Please join me in welcoming April to the stage.
Good evening. Oh, hold up. We just had free wine, chocolate, and steak. I think you could do better than that. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Stephanie, Day One, Lindsay, thank you for inviting me. It's just an amazing event. I am a mother of 2, and I never get to come to the cities, so I'm in an adventure right now, so thank you very much. Allow me to take you back. Most of us are older than 27, so I'm going to take you back circa 1985. There was a famous cartoon called the Thundercats. Yes, that's when we actually stood around and watched TV. And if you were lucky, you had to go to the TV and turn it around. Yes. Thundercats was my thing. And there was a character there, and her name was Shitara. Everyone say Shitara. Now, I don't know if it's because I was Puerto Rican and I thought she was Puerto Rican because I said Shitara. That's how I identify it. Don't judge me. Pray for me. And when I would see Shitara, I was about 4'1", no, maybe shorter than that because I was a child. I haven't grown much. And so when I would see Shitara, there was something about her when she would just run around. She would just run, and she had that power of speed. But when I saw her, she was powerful. She was amazing. She was my role model. Other than my mother, who was a fierce Puerto Rican woman, she was my role model. She was able to hang around the boys, and they never abused her. They only empowered her. She hung around the boys, and she knew who she was. She knew that her mind and her body and her soul, everything, that's what I got from Shitara. Thundercats. Boom. I wanted to be Shitara. In my head, I was Shitara. As a matter of fact, I still operate as Shitara inside. I'm just saying. Fast forward. Wait, I grew up during the crack epidemic era. It was a tough time in the Bronx, but I was blessed to have a mother and a father who loved me. A fierce mother, an amazing father. He was my hero, he was my everything, and he would look at me and always say, "You, my dear, you are a queen." And any man that you get with when you get married, he must treat you the way I treat your mother. See, I wasn't raised in a broken home. I wasn't sexually abused by my father. I didn't have daddy issues. My father was present. He taught me how to throw my first ball. He convinced me that I was a superstar. I wanted to play for the Yankees. I know, I'm short, I get it. I know I'm a girl. But that's how much he instilled that I could become someone. Fast forward to high school. I played softball, volleyball. My dream was to play for the Olympics softball team. I wanted to be one of those girls. And then I met a boy. Or someone I thought who loved me. We started dating, and I fell in love. He was my first in every way. And my mom, being the fierce Puerto Rican woman, let me tell you something, she had this eyebrow that would go up to here. I'm sorry for those of you who can't see it back there, but I'm trying. And she would look at me and she would say, "Mamita, don't you ever let anyone take away your voice." And I'd be like, "Mommy, what are you talking about?" Cállate, translation, be quiet. Domestic violence in the house. So as I began dating this young man, I fell in love. And then out of nowhere one day, right in front of my parents' apartment, boom, was the first slap. And that slap led to a punch, to choking, to isolation, to the day he almost took my life. I was in high school. How many of us remember being 18? Do you remember what turning 18 meant for you? 18 signifies something powerful when you are youth. 18, you think you own the world, but your mother's still paying your bills. And at 18, all I could do was survive. At 18, I was supposed to be getting ready for college, thinking about all the possibilities that America has to offer, thinking about going to college, and yet all I could do was survive. You see, because that's what we do. We survive. We fought and fought. And I had a white shirt. And within a couple of hours, my shirt was red. I thought, I need to get out of here. He threw me on the couch and attempted to force himself on me sexually. I was able to get away. And when he did not like that, he looked at me and he said, "If you don't give it to me, I'll go somewhere else and get it." I said, "I need to leave. I need to run. I need to just get out of here." I ran out, and I was hoping that someone would hear me. Some chihuahua would bark loud enough, and yet no one heard me. The only thing I could think about was the blood that I had on me, was to place it on the wall because at least my parents would know that I was here. And there was a thought that came to me, a vision. I said, wow, this is it. This is my ending. And my dad will never be able to walk me down the aisle. I don't know if there's any fathers to daughters, but let me tell you, that thought killed me. He grabbed me and he said, "Now you're really gonna get it." The fighting continued, and after a couple of hours, he stopped. I don't know what made him stop, but I just wanted my life to end. And he walked over and he grabbed a first aid kit, removed the alcohol pads, and he just started to wipe my blood. And he said, "I'm so sorry, I just love you." So why do I say that? It's because I'm more than a survivor. As my sister Monika said, I'm a warrior. I don't want to just be a survivor. Surviving is not enough. And what day one does It gives the opportunity to teenagers that I wish I had. Not only the opportunity to move forward and empower yourself, but empower others. Today, all of you have the power to do that. I stand before you an author, a mother of two. I am married to an amazing man. We've been together for 17 years. Thank you. Yes, we need to clap about that. You know, marriage is hard. And we don't get paid for it, ladies. I'm an advocate, I'm a speaker, I was in the movie Freedom Writers. I was able to pick myself up and keep moving forward because that's what you do when your back is against the wall. You don't die, you get up. I tell people, you see, abuse was not a period, it was just a comma in my life. And with that being said, there are 3 amazing young people who will come up here and share their stories. Please listen. As adults, we tend to forget that we were once 18. So when you hear their stories, know that they've been through journeys, as we all have been. Thank you, Day One. Thank you for the work that you do. Please continue to support this organization. We need more and more and more advocates like yourselves. People who are donating, continue to donate. I'm a speaker, I could keep going on, but I'm gonna end it here. Shitara has left the building.
So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Stephon St. Pierre, and I'm a rap peer leader at Day One. I was first introduced to Day One through my friends who participated in the first summer institute. And when Day One first came to my school, my first impression of Day One was that it was a service that helped people that have been abused or people that just wanted counseling. But my friends would always go to the office throughout the day and during lunch, and I always wondered why they were so interested in it. So one day I decided to follow them, and after that, I never stopped going. So before I became a peer leader, I thought it was my friends' thing as they were all girls. I didn't want to step on their toes. I didn't want to know what went on in the room. But at the time, we weren't really getting along, so my rap coordinator, Ms. Bess, encouraged me to apply anyways, and I did. Becoming a peer leader last summer opened my eyes to a new way of thinking about various topics and issues. As a male, I never really thought about LGBTQ issues, gender identity, or pronouns. However, I can now say I'm a cisgender male whose pronouns are he, him, and his. I learned about sex trafficking, the different ways that survivors are trafficked, and how survivors can sometimes be mistreated by the justice system. I also learned about people who cause harm and the ways they cause harm. Rap and Day One can help someone who has been harmed to receive help and services that they may need. As a graduating senior this year, I recently referred 2 students to the Rap Summer Institute because of their leadership skills and their capabilities to help change the mind of people that have an unclear understanding of topics. So, I want them to get a better understanding of healthy and unhealthy relationship, which Day One provided to me in the summertime, so I believe it's a great program for people. I became a peer leader because I was encouraged by Ms. Betts, but I also realized for my future career in law enforcement that I need some knowledge and tips that I learned. As a key aspect of being a law enforcement agent is understanding people and why they do things. Another aspect is problem solving. To understand people, I have to look deeper into a situation so I can provide a full analysis of why they did something, why they do it, and how to prevent it. And, I'm sorry. Nah, this is, whew. Day One helped me think about what causes someone to harm another person and how difficult it is to leave someone even if they hurt you. Most of all, I learned about how I want my future romantic relationships to be and how I want my future friendships to be. Have a great day, guys. My name is Stephon St. Pierre.
Top of the evening, everyone. My name is Samantha Taylor, and if you can't tell from the accent, hopefully you can't because I'm trying to perfect my New York accent. I'm from Jamaica. A few years ago, I met my ex when I was in high school at the age of 12 years old. I got married to him when I was 20 years old and migrated to the US at 22 years old on a conditional 2 years visa. Conditional in that being a lawful permanent resident in the US was dependent on a bona fide marriage to my ex. Approximately 6 weeks after moving into the marital home, he started to abuse me. Basic needs and the extension of my lawful legal status in the US was used to intimidate me. My ex is a police officer, and one of the threats he made was that if I reported him, the police would not help me and he would make my life a living hell. After going around in circles and suffering silently, I was referred to Day One by an adult serving organization who thought that Day One was the right fit for me due to my age and my request for counseling. On entering Day One, my intent was to talk to someone about how low and lost I felt and how I felt like dying would be better than living. Following several weeks of counseling, I was strengthened and empowered. However, I feared reporting my ex to the NYPD because he was a part of the NYPD, and he assured me that they would not be on my side, but they would be on his side. Unfortunately, when I reported him, he was right. The police officer who interviewed me told me that there was nothing they could do for me at that point in time, and if another incident occurred, I should report him again. I remember asking the police officer, how can a dead person make a report? On leaving the police department, I remember thinking, oh my God, I'm certainly dead this time. Might as well I have my last supper because I'm going to meet my maker. But then, just in the nick of time, I heard from my counselor at Day One, Natalie, who called to give me encouragement and advice that changed my life for the better. I remember speaking to Andrew, who is here today at table 25, and when he laid out the options that I had, I remember thinking, oh my God, finally, someone is on my side. I received the support that I desperately needed to file for an order of protection. I received legal counseling and emotional support at court via the Youth Voices Network, who sent a fellow survivor to accompany me to court. Day One also referred me to other agencies that provided other services that I was in need of because of how complicated my case was. My experience with trying to leave my abusive ex on my own and through the NYPD was an exercise in futility. I really do believe that I would be telling a different story today, or my story would have been on the news if I was not joined to Day One. Day One was a pillar of strength and a blanket of protection that played a big part in saving my life. Day One cared for me like a mother does with an infant child when I was at my lowest, and today at my strongest yet. Day One extends a shoulder to lean on should I get weary. I am a member of the Youth Voices Network because women between the ages of 20 to 24 are at the greatest risk of becoming victims of domestic violence. Domestic violence is the leading cause of injury to women. Every 9 seconds in the US, a woman is assaulted or beaten. 1 in 4 women will be victims of severe violence by an intimate partner in their lifetimes. 1 in 7 men will be victims of severe violence by an intimate partner in their lifetime. 2 in 5 gay or bisexual men will experience intimate partner violence. Intimate partner violence is an epidemic that affects the lives of many people in and outside of New York. Prevention is better than the cure, and early detection of domestic violence will save and change more lives, and that is the core of Day One. If you are part of Day One, thank you for helping to save my life. If you are considering being a part of Day One, please do. You will be saving lives. Thank you for listening. God bless you.
Hi, my name is Danielle, and if you would have told me almost 6 years ago, when I was sitting in an emergency room in Portland, Oregon, preparing to undergo a rape kit, that I'd be standing here in front of you all today, I would have laughed between my often uncontrollable sobs. If you would have told me even a month later, when I was suffering from PTSD and anxiety and depression and addiction and an eating disorder, that I'd be volunteering to share my story over and over and over again, I would have called you a liar. But here I am, standing here today to talk about Day One and the Youth Voices Network and how my volunteer work has helped me to continue to heal from sexual assault and domestic violence. I was introduced to Day One when I agreed to speak on a panel about sexual assault in the media in 2016. I instantly knew that I needed to not only find out more about this organization, but find a way to be more involved. Before I knew it, I was volunteering for speaking engagements with Youth Voices Network, sharing my story, talking about consent and domestic violence, dating abuse, and sexual assault. In the past year, I've shared my story at middle and high schools, during after-school programs and summer camps, and during trainings for the teachers and counselors provided by the New York City Department of Education. Initially, I assumed volunteering with Day One and YVN would be a way for me to fight back against a rape culture that normalizes sexual violence from Hollywood to Washington in the news, media, and sports. But in the wake of the Me Too and Time's Up movements, I've realized that volunteering has also been my personal saving grace. I've been surrounded with compassionate, tireless advocates who knew the value and power of even one person's story. I've been encouraged by those same individuals to take time for self-care and focus on my well-being and share only what I feel comfortable sharing. I've been able to manage my triggers and repurpose my rage so I feel empowered and not broken. What I've realized is that while I might be helping school counselors learn how to better support their students suffering from dating abuse and sexual violence by sharing my story, those counselors are also helping me. They're proof that, yes, there are still helpers in the world. There are still people willing to put in the time, effort, and energy to fight against a society that has passively accepted sexual assault and dating abuse as an inevitability. People who are proud to support students who face name-calling, physical violence, online stalking, revenge porn, and sexual assault. People who are working to redefine what it means to date so that our children don't confuse manipulation for love or coercion for consent. And so now, 6 years after I was raped, 10 years after I left an abusive boyfriend, 15 years after I finally stopped allowing my father to beat my mother, my brother, and I have found continued healing and a larger purpose and a way to reclaim my trauma as a tool. All thanks to Day One and the Youth Voices Network. I am not defined by my past, but I can use it to ensure a brighter, safer, abuse-free future. Thank you so much.
Thank you, that helps. I'm back for the last time. We've heard some really powerful stories tonight, and I thank you all for sharing your stories so much. It takes a lot of courage. You guys know what I want you to do. I mean, Do you need more information? This is a wonderful organization, and it is reaching out to our community here in New York City, and hopefully someday, a decade from now, 2 decades from now, it'll be a national organization to help survivors like these and advocates like these spread the word and teach youth about what a healthy relationship is. So take out your phones, raise your hands, and let's donate. Thank you, guys.
Hello, everybody. I brought my phone because I just finished donating myself. I'm only up here to say thank you so much. Thank you to Stefan, thank you to Samantha, thank you to Danielle. Our survivors that take their power back to stand up here and share their stories. It's heart-wrenching, and it is the most uplifting thing about the work that Day One does. I am so impressed with these young people. They make coming to work every day worth it and gratifying and so important. So we can't thank you enough. I want to thank April and Monika for sharing their powerful stories as well. Thank you to Kara for coming up here over and over and asking you all for money because it's awkward, but we so appreciate it. Thank you to all of you who've donated. Thank you to those of you who will donate when I step off the stage. Enjoy the rest of your evening. There is an open bar outside for some time longer. There's still that photo booth. There's a tiara. Get with it. Have a good evening, and thank you so much for being here.